Welcome to Merschman Seeds Cup of Joe. On this episode, we're getting test plot results. Hear from Ben about the top performing Merschman Seeds products. Now is the time to plant wheat. Merschman Seeds offers hyper early and ultra early wheat varieties. Hear the benefits of planting soft red winter wheat. And hear how our starting line soybean seed treatment options can help combat diseases such as red crown rot.
Hi, this is Joe Merschman. Welcome to Merschman Seeds Cup of Joe. Today we have our regulars. We have Ben, Dylan, and Lynn. And who wants to start? I know everybody's interested in yields. What's working, what's not? What are you seeing?
We're getting some more of the strip trials in this week, and they've been pretty interesting. You can definitely tell which products are going to be the cornerstone for guides to build their portfolios and their packages around. I think if we start a little bit on the early side, the one that's sticking out to me is the Mohegan. The Mohegan, which is something that we talked about in a lot of our sales meeting and when we're talking with customers about. I kind of anticipated that the Mohegan was going to be a knockdown, drag-out bean. 108.4% in 2 years of testing, so very, very consistent product the last couple of years that we've looked at it. The Mohegan's just, it's just number one. It might catch number two, but it's just one of those ones that is definitely going to be a yield leader. I thought it was going to be a yield leader. Some of the plant breeders that have taken notes on it said that this is one of those ones that you have to have in your lineup. So the Mohegan is a 26 introduction. It is a 2.4 relative maturity. It is a PI 88788, so it kind of fits in between our peaking PI88 rotations in there, so it's definitely going to be one that guys need to think about either as an early option, full season option, median maturity. It's definitely one to stick out there. From a disease package standpoint, when we're looking at the Mohegans, it's not perfect on white mold, it's not perfect on sudden death, so but it's going to be that race car that's really, really fast. So it's a winner.
Build some of those fields that you have higher problems with white mold or iron deficiency corrosives. You may adjust a little bit on those fields, but where this one fits, it's going to go.
Yep, and it looks like it's going to fit the broadacre too. It doesn't seem to have a western bias versus an eastern bias. It's just a standout product that direction.
You kind of ruined Turk's old mantra with Group 2s. It used to be if it started with a C, you needed to plant it. Now you throw the Mohegan in.
Right. That
you can always say if it starts with an M, you can plant it. Merschman.
That's right. That's right. We spent quite a bit of time talking about the Cherokees last week on our Cup of Joe episode. It's continuing to do Cherokee things. I mean, I think the only holdback on the Cherokee this year was probably a little bit of standability, but all platforms have had standability issues. The Cherokee is a bean that last year when we were looking at it on a broad acre, you would see them tangled up just a little bit, but they weren't down by any stretch of the imagination. We had a few fields of these Cherokees that are down, but I attribute 95% of that to the amount of rain that we got in June and July when it was putting all of its vegetative growth on.
Adjust your population too. I mean, pull it back a little bit when you know that you got just an average standard and not for the most part shore up some of the problems too.
Right. Some of the other beans that we've been looking at that are coming in, it's when you're looking at the Group 3s, it's Reagan. I mean, that'll be the cornerstone for many, many growers as they are building out their portfolios for sure. So,
locally, one farmer came up to me, said, "Best beans yet," and I go, "Well, how good?" He goes, "Really good." I go, "Well, how good?" He goes, 93. But this is some of the best ground. I mean, it's prime ground. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive. So, we're going to be hitting 100 bushel here soon. I mean, averages won't be long. And I think there might be some farmers out there in certain pockets might be there. You talked about around Kearney, Nebraska, that there's some really high yields under irrigation and good management. And we got a really outstanding customer out there that that's what he's shooting for, 100 bushel beans.
Yep.
Yeah, as much as it pains me, I was able to actually have a happy little accident. A customer needed some beans, so gave away my Monroes to make sure that they were taken care of, and Shannon rewarded me with a couple boxes of Reagans that were still kind of left over, and I hate to say it, out-yielded our old friend Kennedy's by a pretty statistically significant mark. So, and the Kennedys weren't a dog by any means. So, I mean, we talk about that package in the mid-group 3s, Kennedy, Kennedy for years. Now Reagan, and Kennedy's kind of the fill-in. And I don't know, if Kennedy's our fill-in, we're in a pretty darn good spot.
Yeah.
One of the other things, I mean, to look at some of the other products that have been doing pretty well in the test strips, Harrison I think is going to be another key that rolls in at the 3.2 relative maturity, very, very strong. Has a little bit of a step up in the sudden death tolerance. Haven't had a lot of Group 4 stuff come back in, but a couple of the comments that we've heard from the guys that had the Madisons in seed production this year, they are a tall bean. So they're going to be great for the little bit lighter soil types, the little bit tougher ground, the water limited ground, and the fact that they're a Peking and a legitimate Peking from a yield standpoint. These Madisons are definitely going to be a play for a lot of acres as we go south.
Yeah, I noticed, Ben, we probably got 20% of the precincts in, as they say, and when they're looking at an election, but we are not seeing any surprises at all based on the data that we printed in our seed guide last April, because in April is when we put our seed guide together, and by the time the customer gets it, it's July. But we're not seeing any, I would say, things that are unusual. In other words, what we thought was good and what you grew seed production on is good. So, and that makes us feel good about recommendations. Today, one of the local farmers came in today, and we were asking, what do you want to recommend? What do you think I ought to plant next year? And I said to him, what tax bracket do you want to get into? I mean, there's some really good products in our lineup, and the reality of it is, if you're looking for yield or if you're looking for defense, we can put together. But whatever it is, make sure you plant the package. I mean, to spread your maturities out, and also your disease. Make sure you know your disease pressure.
Yeah. Yep. Kind of the same concept has gone on corn, and we spent quite a bit of time because corn was one of the first things to come out. Not a lot of soybeans came out right away. It's everything that we've talked about. We have a solid 111 day, 112 day, 113 day package, and we can tweak and twist a little bit later, a little bit earlier, to fill in what guys want for their operation. But 11, 12, 13 makes pretty stout package.
Yeah, farmers are talking about Merschman corn. I mean, farmers talk to each other. If they find something good, they'll tell a friend, but maybe not somebody they want to rent another farm from. But they're talking about Merschman corn, and we knew it was good. Ben, you said it. Lynn, Dylan, you knew it. You guys have been planting it, and it's just taken a little bit of, show me, like the Missouri folks always say, and they're starting to see it, and I think we're going to see strong early orders. And if you're thinking about planting Merschman corn, I would get it on order, because Ben says it's going to sell out, and I believe him.
Yeah, and one note to make too, you said we haven't seen anything really surprising coming out of the yield data. One of the things that did surprise me a little bit, and I know it's a very, very solid corn number, is this 2414 C-30. It's actually been poking its head back up and showing off in some of the test plots that we've been looking at too. So that's coming in at 114 day. That product has an eastern bias. I like to keep it on the variable to maybe a little bit more productive ground as we move east, but that product's been showing up very nicely this year. So in competition against a DeKalb 6595 or pick Pioneer 114 day product out of theirs, it's hanging in there where it needs to hang in there in the fuller seasons. So
I think the last comment I'd like to make on the corn related to some of the strip trials and the first tests that are coming out, we're looking at some of the data that's being provided to us in those full season, and our 12, 13, 14 are keeping up with 116, 15, 16, 17, and I'm not saying that anybody does a little bit of nefarious things, but some 115 day can be a little longer than what they are.
So it has really good stay green.
Correct,
right?
Correct. And we
pour dry down.
Yeah,
pour dry down, but really good stay green.
And for our stuff to be holding in there with that moisture disadvantage it's truly awesome. And the last, I guess, second to last point was that one, but the last one I wanted to make is I sent you a text last night about the 2512 planted in April, given a little bit of good fortune of high yields that this particular farmer had to leave it in the field to dry down because it has to go to town, and one of the most beautiful stands of corn in the countryside right now. I mean, no problem with wind. Maybe just a little bit of an issue with some deer damage down in one corner, but April 15th planted, still out in the field. Unfortunately, probably at this time it's 14%, but no cannibalization. Just an absolute great looking stand out there.
And you know, still plenty of time to plant wheat. Plenty of time to plant wheat. You know, with the warm fall we're having, good opportunity to plant wheat. We have good supplies yet, and I can get it to you fast. I know we're prompt on shipping right now, so if you go into one of our dealers and ask for wheat, we can generally get it there fairly quick. So, you know, we're talking to some farmers this past week, and they said that looks like wheat will be their most profitable crop with the double crop. So we're seeing more and more farmers looking at that hyper early, or ultra early, and medium early varieties that we have, and as a true farming practice that you can do year in, year out.
That is for sure.
I think a testament to our wheat too. You know, we talked to genetic advisors and other people. The wheat industry has kind of seen a little bit of a letdown as far as overall acres go. And we looked at the numbers last time on sales. We're on pace to have another phenomenal year on wheat. So when other people's wheat sales are starting to go down, we're continuing to rise. I think it's a testament to the word getting out about hyper early, ultra early, and the high yield potential that comes with that.
You know, offering some solutions. You know, that's the name of the game. And right now for farmers, cash flow and profitability, I mean, that's the focus, and so wheat is one of those areas that you could potentially look at and start getting some cash flow, hopefully. And like I say, if other farmers aren't planting it, maybe that's the time to plant it, you know. So I've always been gung-ho on wheat. I always loved wheat, you know. It's just, you know, you don't have any technology agreements to sign, and you know, you plant it in the fall, harvest it in the summer, and cash flow when you need it. So a lot of good things about wheat. And it's good for the soil, good for knocking back nematodes and things like that too. So
that's a pretty good segue.
Yep. So talking about nematodes, we just sat through a Zoom meeting with Syngenta, and they gave us an update on Vitrato, which is I call Sultro 2, if you in plain language, so you kind of know what we're talking about. And it's still hung up in the EPA. You know, we had said a couple weeks ago we thought it was gonna get approved. It's been in the EPA now for almost 4 years, and now with the government shut down, well, it's going to still stay in the EPA for a while. So, but I think the key thing is, you know, in anything that takes extra time to release, that means you get more data and more experience, so that when you do release it, you know exactly where to put it and how to use it. And this new Vitrato Sultro 2 is what is really going to be a big help if you got nematodes, if you got heavy SDS, and if you got red crown rot. I mean, the numbers that they've said, you know, is it's just consistently in the upper 80s for wins or positive yield results. And like, for example, in heavy SDS, compared to the leading competitor for SDS seed treatment, it is 91% positive and a 4.8% advantage over the leading competitor. So red crown rot is going to be your best option, period, out there, in my opinion. And I just think that we're just hoping that we get this thing registered. Again, we can't tell you what the pricing is because they won't let us. You cannot price a product that's not has the registration on it. But keep your eyes open. Hope the government gets back open so that we can get this registration done, because it's definitely another tool that we need when you have heavy SDS, heavy nematodes, and it will be an improvement over Sultro.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, when comparing to a non-Syngenta competitor, a legitimate when I use the word legitimate, like Olivo is one of the products that they're comparing to. It was an 86 or an 84% win rate in soybean cyst nematode. It was like a mid-90s% win rate in the SDS slice of the data that they look at, and it was a 100% win rate when you were looking at red crown rot. So we've been out in the fields. We can throw some pictures up of a heavy red crown rot field, and you could see it to the line. It's the real deal, and it's handy to have a solution when the problems exist, because up to this point, our seed treatment was one of the best things that a customer could use by using the Sultra that had a little bit of activity, the Heads Up would have a little bit of activity, the Chitosan would have a little bit of activity, having the nematicide
Trinemco.
in the Trinemco helps by reducing the nematode levels. So we had the best mousetrap, but I think Victrato is going to be another layer on top that's really going to be pulling a lot of weight when it comes to those 3 main diseases.
Just keep in mind a product like this is going to end up taking over 10 years to bring to market from discovery. It started in 2008, this particular product to get it to market. Over $300 million has been spent to bring it to market. So, and right now, they have almost 11 years of data now, too. So consequently, that's going to give us a lot of confidence when we make the recommendation for the product and you use the product that you're going to get the performance. So as I said earlier, sometimes a slow process to get it out actually perfects how good it is and where it works. And I think Syngenta has done a ton of homework to get this product to market, and it's pretty frustrating for them right now to be about a quarter inch from the finish line and the government shuts down and we can't get it across. So we'll stay tuned for that, okay?
Yeah, Ben, I think you nailed it from a farmer's perspective. And, we have conversations. Obviously, we deal with stuff on a high level, but from a farm standpoint, this is important because it does give you a number one option in those categories where before we were trying to piece together 1-1-1. Now we're going to have potentially 1-1-1 and 1A, 1A, and 1A in those relation, or 1A and 1B. So I think from a complete standpoint, from a farmer standpoint, after we add this to it, we're going to be really in a pinch on disease pressures because 3 modes of action against nematodes potentially, depending on how we formulate some stuff. But it's almost the easy button. Nothing's easy in ag, but it's as close as we've gotten to.
And our southern customers, down towards the cotton areas, they're going to help you on root knot too. So it's got root knot, very effective against root knot. So. That's where you can raise 200 bushel plus corn ground, and then you can't even raise hardly 40 bushel soybeans when root knot's present. So there's going to be some help there too. So that brings us to the corny jokes. Now we're going to keep it real simple this week. I got just 2 of them. This one here, we all have pets of some type, and I just want to ask you a question now. What kind of pet makes the most noise? What kind of pet makes the most noise? A trumpet. Trumpet. Okay.
Pretty terrible.
It's funny, I'm the only one laughing. Yeah, last one's going to be, how good is your logic? And for those of you took any classes in logic or, deducting the answer, with a little bit of facts. Okay. Now, Lynn he cannot answer because I tipped him off before we started, okay? So it's between you two, two geniuses, okay? Here we go. We got Farmer A sells apples. Farmer B sells bananas. What does Farmer C sell?
I'm going to say corn, but I was only a C student.
He sells medicine or prescription drugs, pharmacy.
Oh my God. Again, I was a C student.
No, I think you're better than that, Ben. Anyhow, so trick question, okay? Anyhow, thanks for watching today. We sincerely appreciate your business. We hope that you have a safe harvest, and we'll see you next week.